Hello everybody and welcome back to the STEAM Train. I hope you guys are all doing well. This is our Wednesday afternoon lesson, and if you've missed any of our previous lessons, go ahead and check them out at newminds.tv. We have something super awesome today because it's something that's going to be used all around the world. I am Mr. Dorian and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Let's get started with New Minds. So the cool thing about the world is that it all has a certain size, and we can measure the world. We can measure it in miles, in inches, in feet, in yards, in centimeters, in meters. And there's all sorts of different ways to keep track of how big or how small things are. The cool thing is that we can actually change this number to make it fit in a smaller space. If we want to show somebody the size of America, we don't just pull out a life-size map of America because it would be too big for us to hold on to and it'd be too big to keep. So we do something called scaling it down. Scale just means that we shrink it, but it's the same size. So let's say if America, this is just made up numbers, these aren't the real numbers, is 1,000 meters tall and 3,000 meters wide, I'm not going to suddenly shrink it to any numbers. I'm going to shrink it on a scale. So if I want it to be 1,000 times smaller, I just need to make the number smaller by 1,000. So 1,000 just becomes 1. 3,000 just becomes 3. So I might show it as 3 meters, 1 meter tall, and 3 meters wide. It'll still have the same shape and all the features will be the same, but it will be scaled down. So we're going to talk about a lot of different ways that we use scale. And we're going to see some cool projects we can do using scale around our house and around the world we live in. Speaking of the world we lived in, the first thing I have is a globe. Globes are super awesome because they let you see the 3D world in relation to everything else. One thing that all globes should have is a scale. I'm going to move this closer so you can see. It's usually somewhere in the Pacific Ocean because there's not a lot of landmass in there. But what it has is a lot of different lines on it. All of these different lines are super awesome because they have a specific measurement. This bottom one's kilometers. The one above it is nautical miles or ocean miles. The one above that is state miles or ground miles. What this allows you to do is figure out how big things are without having to go into the real world and measure it, and without having numbers all over our graph. So let's say I want to measure something in kilometers. I'm going to look at it, and it's actually going to be 1 inch is 1,000 kilometers. So if I want to look at America, which is going to be on the top, actually let's do Australia, it'll be easier for you guys to see. If I want to figure out how many thousands of kilometers Australia is across, all I need to do is change inches into kilometers and then multiply it by 1,000. So let's see how many inches across Australia is, and I just have a ruler as my tool today. I'm going to see 1, 2, 3, 4-ish inches. We're going to round just to make it a little easier, but when you're doing something like a scale, you do want to be exact. But this is 4 inches, so no, it's going to be 4 sets of our measurement, which is 1,000 kilometers. So we know Australia, from one end to the other end, is about 4,000 kilometers. Now to see if this is bigger or smaller than America, I can measure the same thing because I have a scale to work on. Hi, Malcolm and Solomon. I'm glad to see you guys in almost all of these videos. So if I measure America with my scale, it's actually about 4.5 inches across. So it's going to be 4,500 kilometers. Actually, no, we're going to multiply by 1,000. I might have done the first one wrong. Let's double check. So it's going to be 1,000 kilometers. It's 4 inches across. So it's actually going to be 400,000 kilometers. So America is going to be 450,000 kilometers. Sorry, I messed up my math a little bit. That's okay, as long as I went back and fixed it. So we know America is actually going to be bigger and wider than Australia is. It's hard to see because we can't just lift Australia off the map and place it on top, but we can use our scale to figure that out. And this even happens on smaller maps, because this one has a really big scale, because it has to fit everything into this tiny little ball. if we just have a smaller map, like a map of just America, which is where I live. I actually live in Texas. Once we have our map, it's going to appear backwards for you guys, but you still get the idea. And it's going to have a scale, just like all other maps. The easiest way to figure out if you want to make your own map, how to make a scale, is figure out how big your page is and how big the thing you want to measure is. So let's say we have a paper that's as big as this poster, and we know how big actual America is. We need to figure out how small to scale it down so it'll fit. We can do the same comparison tests on this map. If I want to say how much bigger Texas is across than Nevada, all I'm going to do is do my same measurement. So I'm going to measure across. Texas is 7 inches from the tip of El Paso all the way across to almost where Nacogdoches is. I'm going to measure across Nevada, and it's 3 inches across. So I know Texas is actually twice as wide as Nevada is, which is pretty cool to see. We can tell that because the map's in scale. If all of these were drawn any sort of way and they just were whatever size they wanted to be, it wouldn't be the same and it wouldn't have a perfect scale to it. Something really cool you can do is you can take your surroundings, like your house or your room or your backyard, and you can actually make your own map that'll be the correct size. I'm going to show you a cool way to do that, and I'm going to show you a really awesome example I made that I actually use all the time. The important thing of your scale is to figure out... Oops, sorry about that. And we're back. The important thing about your scale is to figure out how big the thing you want to measure is first. So let's just say I want to measure my room. I'm going to get a measurement like a foot, and I'm going to see how many of them across one way and how many wide another way is. I already measured my room just to make it a little easier. And if you don't have a ruler that goes all the way across your room, like a tape measure or like a fabric ruler, you can use a regular ruler and just measure and mark with your finger. So if I want to measure across the screen, I'm going to say this is a foot. I'm going to hold my hand in place, move the ruler. That's 2 feet. Hold my hand in place, put it across 3 feet, and put it across. Oops, sorry, move the wrong hand. Move across 4 feet. My table is actually perfectly 4 feet across because it's actually a mat that goes on the floor. So I know it's 4 feet by 2 feet. So I can measure the same thing with my room. I actually measured it. It's a square. So it's 12 feet across and it's 12 feet front to back. So I need to find a way to mark that on my page. One thing you can do to mark scale is you could use graph paper. This one has really small squares on it and they're going to be really hard to see. But you can also do the same thing on regular paper. Let's say my room is 12 feet across, which it is, and it's 12 feet the other way. I can make it 12 inches by 12 inches, or I can make it a little bit smaller and make it 6 inches by 6 inches. So that way every foot is half an inch. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I have a little scrap of paper so I can save some room. I'm just going to make a little map of my room that's 6 inches by 6 inches. So I'm going to get a writing utensil. There's my marker so you guys can see. So I'm going to make it 6 inches across and 6 inches across. And if you've ever built a model car, a model robot, or anything that's meant to be to a scale, you notice that there's a number on it. It's usually 1, and it has 2 dots or a colon, and then it has a bigger number. That tells you how much they scaled it down or scaled it up. Sometimes things are bigger than they are in real life, and they're really cool to see. For example, if something is 1 to 12 scale, that means it's 1 inch is 1 foot. Because there's 12 inches in a foot, all you have to do is multiply by 12 to see how many inches would make the real thing, or divide by 12 to see how many inches to make the fake thing. And that's how a scale works. It lets you go back and forth and convert different numbers. I'm going to show you a little better example, but this is my room. It's 6 feet by 6 feet. If I want to say how big my desk is, I know it's 4 feet, and I know it's 2 feet. So I can actually make a little desk. I'm going to cut off this extra piece of paper so I can use it for this. If we're using the same scale, and I want to see how big my little table is in this room, I need to do the same thing. So now every foot is half an inch. So I know 2 feet is going to be 1 inch, because half an inch, 1 inch, and that's 2 feet. So I'm going to measure one side is going to be 1 inch tall. Bam. And I know it's 4 feet across, so I'm going to divide that by 2, turn it into inches, because it's half an inch is a foot. So I have 4 feet, so it's going to be 2 inches, because that's 4 divided by 2. Make it 2 inches. The cool thing, when things are all in scale, is you can lay them on top of each other and have a really good representation of how it would look in real life and how things would fit. So this is my desk, and I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to label it just so I know what it is. I'm going to write blue desk. I'm going to cut it out. And now I can look at my room and see where my desk would fit. Obviously, there's more things in this room than just this blue desk. But the cool thing is I can see how much space it takes up. So here's the wall. Here's where my desk is. I can see it takes up this much space. Maybe if I want to put it diagonal in the corner, I can use this and I can measure how far this would be, because it's all in scale. Instead of doing the math to figure out how to find the dimensions of this triangle, I can just measure it. So if I look at the measurement, it's 1.5 inches. So I know if I put it diagonally, I'm going to have 3 feet of space. 3 feet of space. The reason is, it's my same scale. 1.5 times 2 is 3. And I can use that for all sorts of different things to figure out how I want to lay out my room before I bring in all the furniture, what's actually going to fit in my room, what's going to fit through my doorway, and all sorts of different things. And it's really cool to see turn out. But we don't always want to do this with paper and pen, because it could take a long time, or it just might not be that fun to just have a paper version of your room. You might want a 3D version. And here's the really cool part, and this is your first challenge for today. I'm going to tell you how to make different measurements and how to convert to Legos and how to convert to Minecraft. So if you ever want to make your own room, but in Minecraft, and make it the right size and everything in the right place, I'm going to tell you how to do that, and also how to make it in Legos. One important thing is that you do have something to measure with. If you have a 1 foot ruler, that's great, and that's going to be really helpful. If you have something that goes up to 3 feet, like a tape measure, like a fabric ruler, or like a yardstick, which is 3 feet long, that's actually going to be super helpful, and I'll tell you why in a second. If you don't have a ruler that's 3 feet long, but you do have string, you can actually make one. All you need to do to make a 3 foot ruler, and I'll tell you why we're using 3 foot in just a second, is take your string, measure with your ruler 1 foot at a time. So I'm going to measure 1 foot down. I'm going to pinch the string, move it down another foot, pinch the string, move it down another foot, and then I'm going to pinch right there, and I'm going to cut it. This won't be as precise or exact or as perfect, but it's going to really help and get us really close to what we're doing. The reason why is that this is now a 3 foot measurement. There's no numbers on it in between, but we know that one string is 3 feet long. So we can use this to measure. The reason why we're using 3 feet is because every single block in Minecraft is 1 yard by 1 yard. So if you notice, a door is 1 block wide and 2 blocks tall. That means it's a 6 foot tall door, and most people are about 6 feet. That's a good measurement to use. And the doors are 3 feet wide. So you can measure how big a Minecraft block would be in real life. So if there's one sitting on my desk, it would fill up the whole screen, and it would actually go up off of the screen. It would be really, really big. This is another example. So you can figure out how many Minecraft blocks your room would be. If you measure out how many feet it is, we're going to use mine. My room is 12 feet across. I fit 4 of these in here. So I know my room in Minecraft would be 4 blocks by 4 blocks. So that's something really cool and a trick you can use. So one challenge I have for you is you can use graph paper to plan it out, or you can actually hop into Minecraft and see if you can do this, is can you make your room the right size in Minecraft? Remember, every 1 block is 3 feet. Not inches, feet. Those are the big ones that are 12 inches. Something else is that if you don't have a regular ruler at all, but you still want to figure out how big a foot is, there's a couple things that can help you. A normal binder is 1 foot tall, like any sort of binder with 1 inch, 2 inch, or 3 inch binder. They are 1 foot tall, always. These orange Hot Wheels tracks are actually exactly 1 foot tall. And if you don't have either of those, a piece of paper is 8.5 by 11. So if you fold it on the long side, then you can mark that it's 11 inches, because it is 11 inches tall, because it's a normal piece of paper. And you have an 11-inch ruler, which is really, really close to 1 foot. So you can use this and get pretty close to your measurements and make your own version. So that's pretty cool. So no matter what, you can find a way to measure. Something else that's cool is people or things in different scales are going to have their own measurements. Lego men, you notice they don't look extra wide, they don't look extra tall, they look like their normal height. So we can measure and see a different scale. If you want to build to a Lego person, we're going to say he's 6 feet tall because he's a normal person. He's just going to be 1.5 inches. So actually, every 1/2 inch is going to be full. Let me make sure I say this right. Every 1/2 inch is going to be multiplied by 4 to get 6. So every 1/2 inch is going to be 2 feet. There we go. I figured it out. So every 1/2 inch is going to be 2 feet because 1/2 times 4 is 2. So every 1/2 inch is going to be 2 feet. So if you want to measure something and you want to measure your room and make it in Legos, every inch you measure is going to be 4 feet. So my desk in Legos would actually just be 1 inch long and 1/2 inch wide. It'd be pretty small. This person's going to have a different scale. This is a toy robot I have, and he's pretty cool. He is actually 7 inches tall. So he's going to have a completely different scale than this Lego man. If I have this guy as a scale, he's going to have a different size house than this guy. This guy's going to have a much smaller house, and he's going to have a much bigger house because they have different scales. Something super cool, and this is what I've been excited to show you guys, is I actually, when I rearrange my room, I actually make all the furniture out of Legos at the right size, and then I can organize what my room will look like. The cool thing is that I made everything match. So I even have my power outlets, I even have my windows, I even have my favorite blue water bottle. So I'm going to show it from the top so you can see everything. But this is what my room looks like. Excuse me, some of my furniture is falling around. But you see, this is my blue desk. I'm actually standing right here right now. Actually, I'm on the other side because my bed's behind the camera. Then I have a big wall that I cover. You can see my desk is over here, just like my real life desk. It's right over there. And there's my door. You notice my door is slanted, like my real life door. It goes off at an angle. And all the different things are all in a scale. For this scale, I just made my own ruler. So every foot is going to be 1 block with 2 flat pieces on it. So now I can measure how big my room is really easy, or how big my furniture is. So if I take my desk out, I can see that it's 4 feet across. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 2 yellow and 2 red. And it's 2 feet tall. So I have a red and a yellow. So that's something super awesome you can do, and you can make your own room out of Legos and see how big everything would be. This is my bed. I know how big it is. I can measure it across. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 6 feet across. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 feet tall. So all this, I can measure how big things are, move them around, and see how everything works, and it's really, really cool. I even have my curtains in my windowsill, and it goes how tall it would be in real life. So I can see my windowsill is 2 feet off the ground. I have my big window, and I can see everything about my room. I even have where the power outlets are. So that's a really awesome project. It's going to be kind of difficult, and you might want to ask for some help, but it's something super awesome you could do at home and spend a lot of time on. So I hope you guys have enjoyed learning a little bit about scale. I'm excited to see some of the challenges you complete. Remember, the first challenge is making a scale on paper to see what your room would look like. You can make your furniture out of paper. More advanced version will be making your room in Legos or making your room out of Minecraft if you have either of those. And then something super awesome is you can make your own treasure map of your backyard. You can measure how big your backyard is, make the same map, but instead of feet, use inches, and then you can measure out where you're going to hide a treasure. Maybe you hide a little piece of plastic, maybe you hide an Easter egg or something like that. Then you can have a treasure map leading to it. So like, oh, I need to take 3 steps this way and 4 steps this way. And it's something super awesome, and it will be the actual scale and size. Unfortunately, Mr. Adam, I can't show it. It's a little too big to bring on camera. It would shoot all the way off because it's actually a really big and tall building. The furniture moves? Yes, it does, actually. All the furniture comes up and moves around. I even have my trusty chair. Oop, it just fell apart. I even have my trusty chair that I'm sitting in right now. It's to the scale. It still has the leg. It actually has the broken leg on it because mine has a broken leg too. I have a little concrete table that my thing sits on, so I made the exact same concrete table. So all these things are super cool, and my curtains on my window, you can see they're blue, and my real life curtains are blue just the same. Ta-da! So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's lesson. I hope it inspires you and gives you some awesome ideas. You don't have to do it as big or as small as mine. You can make your own scales, and that's the super cool part about it. If you want to make this really big and make it like half scale, you can make a tiny version of your room. If you want to make it really, really small, you can make like 1/24 scale, where every half inch is 8 feet or something crazy. So I'm excited to see what you guys make, and I really want to see the pictures of this project. The last reminder, because a lot of people ask this question, 3 feet are 1 Minecraft block. A Minecraft block is 1 meter by 1 meter, which is really close to 3 feet. If you have a meter stick, that's even better to measure with. So as you try and make your house in Minecraft or real life or in Legos or on paper, I hope you guys show us pictures. Don't forget to check out New Minds TV for lots of our other awesome lessons from our other awesome inspirators. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you for turning in with Real and Style Learning with New Minds. And don't forget to keep practicing your passions until they become your talents. Thank you guys for watching.